So I've got an emergency light in this room where the fire alarm system is. That's all good. Power goes out, lights come on, keeps this room illuminated. You have plenty of light to open up the fire alarm system and acknowledge and silence the trouble that will be there because the power was lost. That's of course just if you don't want to do it from the annunciator at the front entrance. But there's kind of something missing here that is important when the power goes out. As great, we have emergency lighting in this room. So lights go out, emergency light comes on, keeps it illuminated. That's all good. You can see everything you need to in here. And in the hallway down here, we've got this guy on the ceiling. That's also all good, as that keeps the downstairs corridor illuminated so you can make your way down to the fire alarm room. However, this room here, on the way to the fire alarm panel, this is the problem area. And that's what we're going to be fixing in today's video is this room has no emergency lighting. So it's great we've got it in the hallway, and it's great we've got it in here, but this room here is a missing area that has nothing. So we'll be fixing that today by installing a remote head. What a remote emergency light is it's just the light. It doesn't have the battery and the charger and all of the electronic components that are in your main battery packs. Battery pack being one of these guys. A remote head is just the actual light head on it, or sometimes 2 or 3 or even 4 are going to be mounted at the same location, but remote heads are just referring to your actual LED or incandescent halogen bulb. And those get powered remotely off one of these. These guys are often remote capable units, meaning that they have enough power output that they can run more lights than what are just on these that can be installed remotely, hence the name remote head. I'm not exactly sure what the rating of this guy is. Oftentimes these smaller ones are around 36 watts, and they've got some larger ones up to 70s. And then there's some that are well over 100. I mean, they make large packs like this that are often over a few hundred watts. There might even be larger ones than that. Basically, whatever wattage these are rated at, let's say this one's rated for 30 watts, that means that it can maintain that 30 watt output for a minimum of 30 minutes, as 30 minutes is what's required for emergency lighting here in Canada. This will be able to supply that demand for 30 minutes. If you're less than the wattage that it's rated for, that's fine. It'll just mean that it'll likely go longer than that 30 minutes. These are probably 3 watts each, so 6 watts plus another head. They're 9 watts. This thing's going to last way longer than 30 minutes. Which that's what we're going to be installing. So let's take a look at it. I've got this guy here. This is a single remote head, and this is not what they usually look like. I had one of these spare heads that was removed from a unit, and I didn't have the base for it. Nobody cares in this room. This is just used as a gym area. There's a computer on the floor. There's some random stuff in the corner. It doesn't matter how this looks. This actually kind of matches the wall, but this can be installed in this room, and it's just one head, but that's fine. These are pretty bright, and that's going to be enough for this light. We're not trying to brighten it up like daytime in here. We just need the minimum amount of light to safely walk through here and be able to do what you need to do. I could have installed one of these guys. This is what they look like usually. However, this is more than what's needed for the room, so I'd rather save it for some place that needs it more. So with all that said, let's get to the install. First, I'm going to find where I've got a stud to attach my box. I don't want to put it on the same area as this fire alarm device because below it's kind of low, above it doesn't leave me with enough room, so I'll put it the same height over here. And I'm going to center it with the fire alarm device because the fire alarm device may not sit exactly centered on the box. It may be higher or lower, and really I don't care if the boxes are centered because that's not what you can see. All I care about is, does the actual device on the outside match up with the same height? That's what matters. Now, usually to cut my box in, I'd use the credit card trick where you just trace out your credit card and that's the right size. However, not today. That's because today I'm going to be using this 1110 box. Usually I'd be using a 1004L box instead. These are not the ideal box. These are for surface mount, not cut in like an 1104, or sorry, a 1004L is. However, I've got a bunch of these kicking around and I'd like to just use them up. So I really don't trust the stud finder, so I'd rather actually put a hole in here and just see how close I am. We seem to be pretty close right there. And right there is hitting it, so yeah, that's pretty good. down from the bulkhead. This guy here is, I'd say, this guy is 5.5 inches tall. So half of that would be 2 3/4. So from the top down, 2 3/4 puts us right here, which is 7.5 inches down from top, puts us right here. So I'll take our box with a level on it. And now I'll cut it out. I could use an oscillating saw, but it pisses off the dog. So I'll do it with this guy, and usually I cut myself over that way first so I can feel when we hit the stud. Okay, that's right on our line, so that'll be fine. It looks like I'm going slow. It's because I am, because I don't want to cut this fire alarm cable that may be around here. Yeah, and I feel I just hit it, so that's why we're going slow. And yeah, right there. That's exactly why we're being careful. Well, we were on the money with getting it on the stud, except that fire alarm cable is right in my way. So that needs to be moved back. Luckily, this wall isn't taking any load, so we can take a little bit of a chunk out of that stud if we have to, which I think we're going to. I was trying to avoid the oscillating saw, but we're going to have to use it. You can see now with that little notch cut, I can push this back enough for the box. But before we mount the box, we need to bring the wire in there because it's much easier to do that before the box is in the wall. Which it's going to go through here. I probably could put it in the same hole as the fire alarm. It's both low voltage, but I think I'll just make another one. And often with emergency lighting, you would just run Lumex in a situation like this, NMD. If it's wood frame or BX, or pipe it just like you would any other thing. However, that's usually done for the voltage drop, as it needs to be a fairly large conductor. For this, it doesn't, so I'm just going to run this LVT. It does not have a ground, but it's 6 volts DC. So we're just going to push this through here just a little bit. That should be enough. And it even came out the wall for us right there, so that's perfect. We'll put a connector on our box. I find this stuff horrible to strip, so I'm going to do that before. And then this can just go into the wall here. I had to take the connector off because I couldn't get it in the wall, but I'm going to get the connector. Keeping it a little bit behind the wall is fine. Okay, now let's actually set up our remote head. We'll strip these guys back here. And white will be positive. And on these LED heads, it does matter. The old incandescent halogen ones, it didn't matter what was positive or negative. It worked either way, but these guys, it does matter. Stuff this all back up in here. I got a screw that I'm holding in my teeth, so that's why I'm talking like this. This box didn't originally have these holes because it was meant to go in a PVC outside box, so I had to drill these, so I don't know how accurate they'll be. But as long as it holds on the box, that's all I care about. That actually worked out quite well. Now we'll adjust it to somewhat how I think it will need to be. These ones, you actually have to undo these screws. I don't like them quite as much as the ones that just snap into place. Maybe put that out one, and we'll turn it facing into the room. Okay, I guess it has to go around this way. That's probably pretty good like that. Other than any minor adjustments that need to be made, this is all good on this side. So now we got to hook it into our battery pack. So firstly, I'll open this up. I always put the screw back in here before it walks away on you. Take this off. So now I'm going to use one of the knockouts to enter my cable in. None of them are really ideal, but I don't feel like getting the carbide cutters to drill another one, so I'll probably use, I guess I'll use this top one up here. And you know what, I'm going to leave it like that because this will not affect how this clips in, and I may want to push it back up someday. So this guy comes out the wall right here, and we're just going to run it over here, down and into this unit. Throw a staple on the wall right here. And this will run down into the top here. And I'll throw in another staple right up here. That's incredibly solid stuff to try and get it in. It's this old 1970s wood here. It doesn't let you push that staple in very good. Okay, and that's a little bit longer than we're gonna need, so we'll cut that back. And we'll strip this here. You know what? That's never gonna get put back. All right, then we'll strip this positive, negative. And then we tie it into the unit here. So this guy is our positives. I know it's a little confusing, but the colors they're using here. But when you have white and black, you'll use white as the positive, and when you only have yellow and white, well, then you use yellow as the positive. I believe that was a 4-watt head we installed. The ones on, or sorry, I believe that was a 3-watt head we installed out there. The ones on this unit are 4-watt. Okay, so everything should be all good now, so I'll put this guy back together. And now let's give this a test. I'm gonna get it nice and dark in here, so I'm going to shut this door here. Going to turn off this light, and we're going to have a little bit of light from in there. Nothing we can do about that. I'm going to turn off this light. Now it's really dark, so I'm going to unplug this. And let's now go take a look. You can see this room's got plenty of light, and it does light up down into this walkway here. So this is all good in here, but you can see we got plenty of light to do what we need to do. Let's take a look at this room here. Okay, and there we go. That's giving some light in here. I think that's actually aimed pretty good. It's aimed kind of right at the floor in the middle of the room. It's aimed down here. Okay, I think that's a success. I think that does the job with the lights back on in here. This is how that guy looks. So let's turn off the light in here, and I'll plug in the emergency light unit to show you what it looks like when the power comes on and off. Okay, seeing as this is how dark it is without the light, I think that's pretty good. That lights up this room decently. Not nearly as much light as this guy in here. This is quite bright, but it's enough. I may add more emergency lighting in the future, as in the basement, I currently have this. Now this one, and then this guy. There is this in my room as well. But there's nothing down this way in this garage or this laundry room, which really doesn't need it as much, as it's kind of on the generator. It's not, and it is. The generator does not supply this building at all. It only powers the garage building and all the buildings that are fed off it, and that's for a couple of reasons. I have a video explaining that. But when this big light pole is on, or even any of the exterior lighting, a lot of it comes in through this window here and lights up this area, which that combined with that guy up there provides kind of enough lighting for this corridor. Same with this bathroom, a lot of light comes in through here, and I don't really have any easy way of adding an emergency light in here due to its location in the house. But I could always add something in this living room. Not really that important, because it does get light from this guy, and literally nobody spends any time in this room. Like, this room is never used for it. Like I mentioned, could add something down there or in that garage, and more likely this bottom area of the stairwell. I think it would be good to have something in here. I think for now that's enough talking from me. So that's going to do it for this video. If you enjoyed it, make sure to give it a thumbs up. If you do have any comments or questions, feel free to leave those down in the comment section. And if you do enjoy my channel, make sure to subscribe. Also, if you are interested, I do have an Instagram account at Pickle700 for bonus content, stuff posted earlier than you'd see it on the YouTube channel, that sort of thing. Alrighty guys, thanks for watching.